Good morning, everyone. It's your girls from Obscure Orations, me, Tay, her, Dana, and we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Barry. He is an author, and I'm going to say, after reading some of your bios on your social medias, that you're a fairly well known author, being on some of the actual TV interviews and what was it? TV interviews, the
Motivational speaker.
oh yes, motivational speaker. It's trying to remember all the information where it's like I know it's in there, but it's buried underneath everything else. Where it's trying to keep it all together. Going, okay, you're on a bunch of these different things.
I don't remember most of it, so don't worry about it.
That moment where you're like, oh, you're right, I was on that too. Yeah, oh yeah, you're right, I did that too.
Yeah.
So go
So,
ahead, Dana.
so tell us about yourself first, Barry. That's
Yes.
the main thing. Tell us about you. We've read your bio, but our listeners, watchers haven't. So tell us about you.
That's My Checkered Past by Barry Maher, huh? That's okay. Well, I am a product of 4 years at the University of Notre Dame. It took me five, an hour and a half of the graduate journalism program at UC Berkeley, and five totally befuddled weeks at the Whopper College of the Burger King Corporation. Uh, I am probably the only supernatural thriller author who's ever been in the pages of Funeral Services Insider. I started out my career in my misspent youth. I was a journalist of sorts, freelance. My stuff was in maybe 100 different publications, and in
Wow.
order to eat, I had just about that many different jobs. One point, I moved to the beach, not to a house on the beach. I moved onto the beach with the sand, with the seagulls. And then it finally struck me, and I started telling my stories to businesses, to audiences. And more important, I started telling my stories and charging them businesses, associations, cruise lines, things like that. And that worked a whole lot better than just writing articles. It got me on the Today Show. You mentioned some of the places I've been,
Yep.
CNN, CNBC. I can't remember all of them, but a lot of places like that. And about everything from the New York Times to Funeral Services Insider. Also got me my syndicated column, the slightly off kilter column. What else can I tell you about me? Oh, I should mention I'm a two-time loser. I've been incarcerated twice. Once for not making a left-hand turn out of a left-hand turn lane, and once for aiding and abetting a loiterer. And that is the story of Barry Marr.
You have like even hearing like I know we read this before you got here, but hearing you even say it, like this sense of humor that you have that goes along with it, like some people would have had that kind of life and been like, that's it, I broke, I snapped, I couldn't continue on. You're like, nope, you made some friends with some seagulls, you got to hang out on the beach while you lived there. There's some silver lining in it where you're like, you know what, I figured some things out. It was a harsh way of figuring it out, but I figured it out.
I didn't do it the easy way. Let's put it that way.
It's the roundabout way.
Life
Yes.
is no fun if you go about it the easy way.
Agreed.
Well, the nice thing about it was having had so many different jobs when I became a speaker, I could speak to all kinds of different groups, and a lot of the groups I'd actually done at least some kind of the work that they did. So it
Mm-hmm.
was, I know very little about a whole lot of different things.
Jack of all trades, master of none. But it
Absolutely none. Yes.
it works though because when you have multiple things in your toolkit to be able to speak of, especially when you've gone into the motivational speaking, it gives you that connection to a wide range of people instead of just being like, oh yeah, well, I know about writing and that's it. You're able to sit there and be like, okay, so I did a whole bunch of different things. A lot of the things didn't stick. I kept throwing things at the wall that kept on bouncing off back at my face.
That's for sure.
And it gives you more relatability where it wasn't just something that you walked into and it was just an immediate click and you're like, oh yeah, I didn't do anything else with my life. This just worked. You're like, nope.
Yeah, I've failed at any number of things. Yeah. And let me clarify the motivational speaker thing. I was a motivational speaker for people that don't believe in motivational speakers. So I tried to deal with like the real world reality, which some of the people that hired me, some of the bosses that hired me didn't care so much for. But generally, it worked out real well.
I think that actually says a lot too, just because when people think of motivational speakers, they think of oh, what was the I think he's still big. I don't listen to motivational speakers because most of them annoy me. Because
Tim
they're like,
Yes,
"Oh,
Robbins?
if you
yes.
yes, that one. If if you go about it and you're like, "Oh yeah, well, I just went and did this and I just worked really hard and I got where I am today." And you're like, "Okay, but sometimes the working really hard didn't work out in these 52 other areas that I attempted that in." But a lot of people,
Absolutely.
you look at a lot of motivational speakers and that's what it is. They're like, "Okay, well, if you just keep working harder at it, you just keep doing this." And you're like, "Okay, well, that's battered me down. So I'm going to talk to somebody else because I'm going to start throwing a shoe at you."
Yeah. Well, see, you're my audience. The people like that, I've heard it before. It's not about all, let's just think happy thoughts and everything's going to
Mm-hmm.
be wonderful. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot more
No.
to it than that. And you have to, if you're going to motivate people, you got to find out where they are. So
Mm-hmm.
every group I dealt with, I had to find out what their problems were, and I had to find a way of addressing those problems. Didn't always mean solving them, usually didn't mean solving them, but it meant finding a way of addressing them, a way that they could hopefully live with.
You have a pretty impressive client list.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? And none of them ever asked for their money back. I was really surprised about that.
No refunds needed. They
No,
were all happy with their results.
That's
I love that.
amazing.
See, that's probably my favorite line of all time now. None of them asked for their money back.
So your book. Let's talk about your book. Um,
Mhm.
haven't got around to reading it. It's in my list. I'm a big reader. I have an extensive list of books that I need to read in the next few months. But I'm going to Mexico in March, and maybe I can get a 2 or 3 books in while I'm there. So, what prompted you to write your book? Like how did it come about?
How did it come about? It came about because I was suddenly, strangely presented with a story that I just couldn't ignore. I was speaking. That's what I did. And I was on a cruise, and my life was very tough. Speaking on a world cruise. And at one point, I wanted to see how much time I had left in the session. So I snuck a peek at the clock, and I couldn't figure out what the hands of the clock meant, which wasn't really well good. I'd been having trouble figuring out foreign currency for most of the trip. Then we stopped in Vietnam, and a vendor there wanted $7 American for a baseball cap. I gave her two hundreds and a 10. It was a nice baseball cap. It wasn't that nice a baseball cap. So got back home,
Oh,
went to see the doctor. My wife insisted I go to the doctor because I was putting my clothes on backwards a lot. She didn't think that was very cool. So I went to the doctor. The first thing he did was have me draw a clock face, 10 minutes to 3. Second thing he did was take away my driver's license. Sent me down for an immediate MRI. The woman there, the nurse, she wasn't allowed to tell me the results. But when I said, "Where's the closest restroom?" she said, "I'm sorry, I can't let you go in there alone." I tried to point out that restroom visitation was a skill I've had for many, many years. I'm very, very good at it. But she
Mm-hmm.
said, "No, you got to talk to your neurosurgeon." Neurosurgeon showed up and told me I had a brain tumor the size of a basketball. Maybe he said
Jesus.
baseball. Yeah, no, it wasn't really a basketball. I may have heard wrong. I wasn't tracking real well at that
It
point.
started with a B and ended with a ball.
Started with a B. It was a baseball, is what he said, which was big enough. But what
Jeez.
became really clear right away was he wanted to take some kind of a power saw, cut open the side of my skull, and take out this tumor. And so that didn't seem like that great an idea. Suddenly telling time didn't seem all that important. I could always get a digital watch, right? Or that would work out just fine. But he was an intelligent guy. He tried to tell me, I went to Harvard, went to Stanford, all these things, but I've been around intelligent people all my life, as you probably have. And if you think of some of the dumb things they've done, you don't necessarily want them taking a power saw to your head, right?
Yep.
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, to me, human intelligence is, I'm sorry for all you humans in the audience, it's highly overrated.
Yep.
If you think, yeah,
yes.
isn't it? If you think of all the things there is to know, all the things there is to understand on a scale of everything there is to know, everything there is to understand in the universe, the major difference between Einstein and Coco the Wonder Chimp was that Einstein couldn't pick up bananas with his feet, at least as far as I know. But anyway, after I decided the thing was crowding out the I had no more room for my brain in my head, so I figured I better have it done. Maybe I had a seizure during surgery. They weren't sure about that. But I woke up, I had Lady Gaga singing nonstop in my head over and over again, same song over and over and over again. And I had this vivid, fully formed, horrific story, like a memory of something I just watched. It was complete with, it had like strange cults, deadly sins, bizarre rituals, and the Ralph Lauren version of the Manson family. I mean, it was a really, really strange story. Now, I tell this story and I kind of brag about my brain tumor. You always do, because when you tell people I have a brain tumor, they get very, very sympathetic. I would advise anybody who wants a little sympathy, tell people you have a brain tumor.
Smart.
Yeah. But compared to what a lot of people went through, have gone through, I was really, really lucky. The tumor didn't encroach upon my brain, so I was able to regain my ability to think, to talk, not quite as well as I could talk before, maybe. Uh, I was able to work, I was able to write, and I can tell time like a champ. Brain cancer's in remission. If anything, the experience made me probably more focused, maybe more empathetic, made me a little wiser, made me a better writer, and it gave me the story, which became The Great Dick and the Dysfunctional Demon. A story I just had to write. I mean, it's great. Strangest gift I ever received. How could you not turn that into a novel?
I agree with that.
Thank
It's
you. You should
there.
do it too.
That that
Let's see if
that
there's one
is
in there.
that is absolutely the epitome of taking a bad situation and making it good.
Right?
Well, yeah, but one of the things I wanted to do in that situation, because when you tell, one of the things that I joke about telling people you got a brain tumor, as soon as you start telling people you have a brain tumor, they start addressing everything about you to the person you're with. Even the doctors do this.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's sort of like, am I an idiot? And I was not. I had the basic same intelligence or lack of intelligence I had before. So one of the reasons writing this book was to prove, if only to myself, that there's life, that there's intelligence after brain cancer. And, it helps me think that, hey, I'm going to make the most of it every single day.
That's I hadn't even thought about that for an angle. Well, that's a fantastic angle to look at it too, just as a pardon the phrasing, but a fuck you to the doctors for all of them because they're notoriously bad. Like my mom has been sick off and on for the past decade, and for her,
Mhm.
it's one of the things like it goes after the memory ability for her.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of the times the doctors don't even refer to her, they just look at me and I'm like, she can still speak, read, talk, remember things. I'm just here as a redundancy to be like, okay, address the person in the room. You don't have to just look at me and be like, so she's having these issues. Like, is she not sitting next to me? Did she die and I'm just seeing her spirit? Nobody told
Exactly.
me. Like, she's
Exactly.
there. She's right there.
Yeah.
She can hear
And
you in the room.
yeah, and she's still a human being with feelings and with understanding.
Yep.
Maybe a different understanding than she had before, but it's still an understanding.
The
Yep.
And
thing
in my
is,
case, when basically everything had come back to the way it was before, basically, I mean, a couple of things are different. But when I was being ignored by doctors who were charging
yeah,
incredible amounts of money, it was galling to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
And these are good doctors. I mean, these weren't quacks. I spent some time figuring out who was going to do this. I called the guy Chainsaw Charlie, but he was an excellent doctor, and I wouldn't have let him put his chainsaw against my skull unless I was pretty sure he was as good as anybody I could find.
You're the best one with that chainsaw, right? You're gonna
Yeah,
do
the
good.
best one with the chainsaw. I mean, I never did actually see what kind of a saw they used, because when you go in for surgery, they keep all that stuff hidden
Yep.
until you get, well, once you fall asleep, then bring out the chainsaw and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Then you just hear.
the hammers and everything. Oh yeah. So
Dana,
I've
you're good.
had I've had a knee replace. I've had two knee replacements.
Ooh.
My first knee replacement, instead of putting me under anesthetic, they gave me an epidural and froze
Mm.
me from the waist down,
Hmm.
and then put me in a twilight sleep. And I woke up halfway through my surgery.
Oh no.
Well, nope.
I couldn't feel it, but all I could hear was my orthopedic surgeon banging
Yeah.
on the and
Right.
I'm just laying there and I'm like, "Hey, Dr. JC, how's it going?" And he looked over that little curtain that they have, he's like, go back to sleep. Pulls down the anesthetic and goes,
Go back to
go
sleep.
back to sleep.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in what's going on here.
Yeah, don't talk to me
So
while I'm
yeah,
doing this.
I
when
had
they
that kind of an
wheeled,
experience. I had a bunion being removed. And what happened when I woke up is the guy who was removing the bunion was getting instructions from his teacher or something. He was learning how to do the operation on my foot. So that was like, oh, I never wanted to wake up for that one.
That is like my worst fear is waking up to hearing them speak and then it being worse because then you hear them speak and they're going, "Oh, but doctor, I think I did that wrong." What do you mean? What do you mean?
Or what the hell is that?
Is
would
it
be
supposed to
worse.
look like that?
It would be worse if you heard them say, look that up on WebMD.
Oh
Right.
God. Quick, get the other doctor.
Right. Is he still on vacation? Call him.
Quick, page him.
Oh
Page him over the
man.
intercom. She won't know. Oh no, she's awake. Whoops. Like, oh.
Okay, so your book is set, and Taylor and I were having this conversation
Yes.
about settings. Your book is set in 1982.
Yes.
Yes.
What is the reason for that?
Okay. Because that's the way it came to me. Talk to my brain tumor. But working it out, once I saw that, one of the reasons the story appealed to me was 1982, for those of us who were around in 1982, or even for those who weren't around in
I
1982,
was around.
was a real pivotal era. The hero of this book, or the anti-hero, because he starts out by admitting he's an asshole and then proceeds to prove it. Uh, he's basically a leftover from the 60s. And all the
Okay,
things he
yep.
believed in the 60s, all that life has basically vanished at this point. And the Revolution, greed is good, has taken over. So he's in the cusp of these kind of things, and then he gets involved in this supernatural situation. I mean, basically, he was once a hero. He's a hero in the counterculture. Now he's just a failed songwriter, and he's running from the law. And he's just killed a man. He's almost accidentally saving a woman from what seemed to be the strongest, most bloodthirsty wino in California. So that's the setup. And he's at a point in his life where, things have basically pretty much fallen apart for him. And all of a sudden he encounters this situation, this woman that he just saved. And she's the least of his troubles. He's had a
Mm.
very, very, very difficult time figuring her out. But what happens is right after he meets her, the face of the man he just killed gradually, slowly appears on
Yes.
his arm, and then just as gradually, slowly disappears. So what started out like as a gritty crime story spirals into what one reviewer called wickedly funny, hot, sweaty, magic and murder infused roller coaster. And it's got open crypts, dark spells, sudden death, and forces a lot more powerful, a lot more demonic than this guy expects. And nothing is what it seems. And that's the
I
basic setup to the Great Dick and the dysfunctional demon. And if you don't like the plot line, take it out with my tumor.
So we were both, what made us talk about it for the timeline of it was because a couple weeks ago we had a different author on, Frank Ruthless, and he was talking about the books that he writes and the settings that he goes for. And one of the ones that I'm trying to remember if it's that he's currently working on or just finishing up, that they set in, I believe it was the 1980s for that one as well, or 1970s, somewhere around there. And his reasoning for it was because he wanted to avoid having the invention of the cell phone being that
Mhm.
problem for, because it's, technology is wonderful, but then at the same time, when you're reading books now, people are always like, well, why didn't they just pull out their cell
Yeah,
phone and Google this
exactly.
answer? Or you're like,
Right.
okay, well, I'm going to make a book and write it before cell phones were a thing, because otherwise you have to think of all these reasons as to, oh, the character didn't charge his phone overnight. The mouse came out and
Right.
ate the
Right.
wires, and oh, I couldn't use it now.
He
That's
left
why
his
he didn't
phone in the
Google.
end. Yeah.
Exactly. So it made us wonder if it's kind of the curiosity now to see different writers whether or not they're intentionally setting it before the uh, invention of cell phones becoming a common household thing, intentionally or if it just happens to be that way. In your case, maybe your tumor decided it's like, look, cell phones are the way of the future. We don't
Yeah,
need
the tumor
those.
didn't want to deal with a cell phone.
How long ago was your tumor?
How long ago? It's about 5 years now.
Oh wow.
Oh,
So I'm doing really well.
yeah.
So
That's a huge accomplishment. Like I said, that's a big screw you to the doctor sitting going, oh yeah, he's never really going to get everything back. And you're like, look, I wrote a book.
yeah,
My
right.
tumor told me the story. I got the book right here. No, you can't put me in one of those white rubber rooms just because I said the tumor told me that I had to write
Yeah,
this.
yeah. It's like
And
every good review I get back, it's like, yeah, so there.
and you have like reading some of the reviews. The one review compared you to Stephen King and somebody else. And that was the one that caught my eye. I'm a huge Stephen King fan. I love anything in the horror genre.
Mhm.
Well, I
So
think you'll
I was
love
like,
this. I hope you love it.
I probably will. There's very few books that I don't really not like.
I
Well,
think
I'll
when it
try
comes,
not to be one of them.
the moment we were like,
I have
oh,
high hopes.
This
I have
thing
high
I hate,
hopes.
but my
I won't send hate mail, I promise.
why
yeah,
did you
well, we
write it
were
like this?
yeah, we're very, very lucky with the reviews. It was like I wrote the book, and writing a book like this took me, it's part of the fact that I had the basic plot. It took me 7 or 8 drafts to get it just the way I wanted, so I believed it. So I thought all these things that I'd created were real, or the tumor had created seemed real. But then I decided to send it out to authors to see if I could get blurbs from them, and I was
Mhm.
trying to get like 2 or 3 blurbs. So I sent out 15 copies because it shows you how confident I was. Some of these people are probably going to hate it, so they'll damn it with faint praise. And we got these reviews that came back. Instead of getting 2 or 3, we got 15 wonderful raves, which was like was felt like a miracle. I mean, it was like it was really gratifying, but more than that, it was like an incredible relief. So
So,
that's
Amazing.
why the book starts with 15 quotes because we had all these things. It was just
mhm.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So how did you, because you've been on, I remember, I think it was the Today Show and CNN are the ones that I'm thinking I'm remembering,
Today
maybe?
Show, CNN,
All the C's, CBS,
NBC.
CNN, NBC.
All of the C's. So,
ABC doesn't want a part of me. I don't know.
so did they reach out to you after the book was published, or were you able to reach out to them and get on to them?
Well, it's been over the years. A lot of this was during my speaking career too. For one reason or another,
Oh,
they
okay.
contact me because I've been, when you do that, when you're a speaker, when you're out in the public, and I was writing nonfiction books at the time, obviously my name was out there, so people would call and would you like to do this? Or I just heard about you doing that. That affects some story that we've got here. We'd like you to talk about the story. Uh, and that's how it basically happened. They call you. It's much better when they call you. If you got somebody calling them, maybe, I don't know. But if it's
Hmm.
their idea, then they're going to pay attention.
Yes.
Right.
But that's pretty darn impressive to have such big networks calling on, hey, we've heard of you. We're kind of interested in having you come on and do a little chat with us about what's going on whatever the topic was.
Yeah, it would usually be some specific topic about something.
Hmm.
To
And
be
whatever it
honest
was.
though, to be honest, it yours is it's a good story. You're I had a brain tumor, and from this brain tumor I got this my brain tumor gave me this an amazing story idea. I wrote a book and it was published. And I've got all these great reviews. So it's a very like like a very likable story. Like
Hmm.
people are rooting for you at this point because brain tumor published book. Holy shit. Like
Yeah, holy
I can
shit.
barely put 3 sentences together some days.
That's just kind of the story of my life. Holy shit.
So yeah, that's amazing.
Hmm.
It is. It's really amazing that you have that. you've had these opportunities.
I've been very, very, very lucky. Yeah, as I said, at one point I was literally living on the beach. I
Hmm.
was, you know, and I was getting my stuff published, but it wasn't making me any money to live on. So the fact
Right,
that I was able to, for whatever reason, turn that into a speaking career, and when you're a speaker, the publishers contact you. So,
Yes.
as a writer, I was trying to get books published and I was doing my articles and things. But then as a speaker, it was like, would you like to write a book on what? On anything, you know? We want to publish you. And that's just because they know you've got an outlet, you got a
right.
platform.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I'm not speaking anymore, but you're my platform now, which is a pretty good platform.
I was going to say you're still speaking. It's just in smaller groups now.
Yeah, as speaking in smaller groups, and I'm still doing some speaking, but I just, it's not that I've had it with that. I love speaking, but the travel really got to be
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
much, more than
How
I wanted to
long
deal with.
how long were you doing motivational speaking for?
Oh, 25 years maybe.
Ooh, that's a long time, and that's a lot of traveling to be doing for that because it's never just like up the street going, okay, yeah, once a week we're going to have you come up here. We'll see you on Sundays, and you'll speak in front of a group of people. It's hey, you want to go on a cruise, and
Yeah,
it's
I mean that's it. I mean, I would speak, I'd do a keynote in LA and finish at 6 o'clock, hop on a plane and have to be in, someplace the other side of the country to do an opening keynote at, 8 or 9 in the morning.
oh,
And that's that gets old.
mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
you got to be on too. When you get there, you can't be like, "Oh, I'm so tired." I just, they don't want to pay for that. You've got to
Yes,
be on, and you've got to address the issues, and you got to be entertaining too. Because if you're not entertaining, you don't last in that business very long.
Yeah.
yes, that's you know what, that's a really good point because you think about any good speakers, not just any speakers, because there's definitely those ones that go around and they're drier than the Sahara Desert as
Oh
they speak
yeah,
about something, and you're like, okay, I know I need to pay attention. He's going to have information. I'm just going to nap. It's fine. Someone
yeah.
else will tell me what happened. If you're going to be a good one, and obviously I can easily see you being a fantastic, like I could easily sit in the audience and listen to you speak and be like, yeah, this guy gets it. I'm happy I paid for this because you have that energy and that interactiveness with
Well,
it.
it has to be. I mean, you can't just ignore them. One way or the other, you have to interact with everybody. I don't care if it's a crowd of 2,000 people. You've got to interact with every person in that audience in one way or another. They've
Yeah.
got to feel that you interacted with them. And it's the same thing with the book, really. I mean, the book has a story to tell, but it's got to be entertaining every step of the way. You can't stop and say, I'm going to do exposition for 10 minutes here, while I tell you all the backstory here that you need to know to work out
Yep.
the plot. It's got to be entertaining every step of the way, every scene, all the way through. And if it isn't, why are
Yeah.
you doing it?
Yes. I think that's
And
a really good way.
there's authors out there that I find go into so much detail or so much backstory that I absolutely lose interest in like 20, 25 pages.
Hmm.
Um, I love Anne Rice's books. I loved her vampire series.
Uh,
The Mayfair Witches. Holy shit. After 3 chapters of describing what the house looked like, I'm like, I'm done. I
Yep.
can't do this.
yeah,
This book is like 1,500 pages long. I can't listen to I can't read 15 pages on how the button sparkles on that jacket.
Yep.
yeah,
It's just too much. Give it to me
yeah.
straight,
That
give it to me
that's
simple.
asking a lot of the reader. That's asking
Yeah.
a lot.
Yes.
And
That's
maybe if
beyond
you're really
attention
great, you
span.
can pull it off, but I wouldn't want to do it.
I
Yeah,
think
and
it's
and I for the faithfuls, like for the Anne Rice faithfuls, they're gonna read it no matter what. Like for me, Stephen King, there were parts in The Stand. I was like, too much,
it's
too much
enough
Get to the
about
point.
info.
this.
But I'm a faithful. I own every single one of his books, so I read it. So the faithfuls are gonna stick to it. But if you're trying to bring in a new audience,
Hmm.
and that's kind of the road you're going down, who you're gonna lose them fast.
Hmm.
Think so.
So I
One of the
like
things
that
that,
straight
excuse
to
me,
the point.
one of the things that's worked out well for me is writing this column. Column has to be no more than 700 words. Every single
Yes.
word. I got to tell the story in 700 words. I got to tell the complete story, and it's got to be funny. You know? So
Right.
that's a real skill that takes some work to develop. So every single word is important. So you don't throw in a lot of extraneous
Yep.
stuff that doesn't really hit the point. You don't throw in something that's funny just because it's funny. Everything has to work together as a unit to tell the story. So that really helped me in that direction, I think.
I think that's a really good point just because so my friend is an author, Sophia York, and her and I have been friends for years now, and she'll do things. She has a Discord server set up so people
Mhm.
can come in, and she'll have areas where at one point she's like, "Hey, how would you guys feel if like we just had random prompts, and you have to write something with the prompted word, but it can only be." I'm trying to remember if we did 5 or 7 words,
Uh-huh.
and it was one of those things that you don't realize how difficult it is
Yeah.
until you do it, and you're like, "Yeah, I got it." There's my 7 words, and it has to make sense. It can't just be like 7 random words where you're like, okay, I have the word red in there. The rest of it makes no sense, but I got the word in and it's seven
But
words.
Red's there.
And it was an interesting kind of training with it just to be sitting there going, okay, essentially tell a full story in 7 words, but you have to use the prompted word. And you're like, okay, I thought this would be a lot easier until you do it. And you're like, I can't. I don't. Oh, this isn't working. I keep getting 8 words. I keep having one too many words. Can I? Okay, if I put a hyphen in here, it counts as 1 word, right? Can we vote that
That's
that counts
right.
as 1 word?
I won't say I've never done that in my columns.
You're
I
like
took
hyphen.
Yeah.
I took a writing class. We did something similar to that, Taylor. And I'm going back into the early 90s, um, where our my college professor gave us a sentence and he underlined a word. And then he handed the paper to the student in the first desk and he said, "Now using the word that I've underlined, write the next sentence to the story." And
Mm.
every single person in our lecture hall
Oh,
had to add to the story. And at the last person had to get up and read the story in front of the class, and it had to
Wow.
make sense.
Great exercise.
I like that. Also
Holy,
scary, but like
like
that.
there were 50, 52 students in that class. It took us almost 3 months to get a cohesive story written.
I believe it. I believe it. Yeah.
But what an exercise
Hmm.
for the mind. Like,
Yes.
because you're now looking at the sentence the person next to you wrote, and they underlined a word, and you've now got to make a new sentence that is not only cohesive to what else is written, but contains that word in it too.
Yeah.
And that would make that even more difficult because it's not like it's the same word that you're all trying to use and just different ways of doing it. But trying to have that cohesive thought from 50 different people.
Yep.
I would have hated to be that last person that had to write.
That's
Like, I would have sat near the front of the room and been like, I'm number 3. Oh,
It was fun though. It was challenging, but it was fun. It was really fun. I
Well,
mean,
that's kind of what
I've never
happens in a
published
novel a lot of
anything.
times. You have to get from one point to the next point you're trying to make,
Hmm.
and you've got to have that connection. It has to go from here to here, and it's got to make sense, and it's hopefully got to be entertaining too. That's that connection,
yep.
and that can take a while.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Now, you've mentioned, so this is the first nonfiction book that you've written. Do you have others that are like actual sorry, no, this is the first fictional book you've written. Do you have nonfiction books?
I wrote a lot of nonfiction when I was speaking. It helped build the business, and it's as I say, publishers very often contact you at that point And if you've got time and you got an idea, yeah, it would be worthwhile to. So I've got 5 or 6 nonfiction books.
Okay. So is it stuff that like was it stuff pertaining to your the topics that you were talking about, or did you go with other topics that kind of interested you at the time?
One of them is generally a management book, leadership, self-help kind of a thing. A couple of them are marketing kinds of books. Uh, that kind of whatever if they approach me with an idea and I like the idea, or I had an idea that I sent to them initially, that's what I developed the thing on. Very often it would be something that I'd be speaking about, and so I'd be using basically everything that was in my presentations sometimes to get into the books. And it was great because it really got me in all those shows I talked about, got me all that publicity and built my business. And so I'm not sleeping on the beach anymore.
That's a really good
With the
improvement. It looks
seagulls.
like you have a nice house where the
Yeah, I
seagulls
have a
can't
very
come and
nice
cuddle you.
house. Yeah, I look out over the beach I used to sleep on.
That's kind of nice. It's poetic to be able to look out and be like, and that's where I used to sleep. And
Yeah,
that's where
I'm,
Gregory the seagull would come up and poke me in the face every morning to say it was time to get up.
I'm going to assume that you live in California.
I live in Santa Barbara. Yes,
Oh, very nice.
it's
Very
wonderful
nice.
living here. It's a wonderful city. Don't move here, anyone.
It's a wonderful city. Do not come here.
Do not
Do
come
not
As
here.
ruin
can
that.
as Canadians, we don't cross the border right now.
I understand. I've been thinking of crossing your way. My mother was born in Canada.
Oh, do you
I've,
have dual citizenship through her?
I don't know. I've been thinking of checking that out. Not that I wouldn't give up my American citizenship, but the dual
Right.
citizenship sounds nice.
I was going to say, I think you should, from what I recall for our laws, is that if you have one parent that's Canadian, one that's American, that you automatically are supposed to have dual citizenship.
Karen has
Hmm.
to apply for it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a rigmarole you got to
Mm,
go through. Get
Yeah,
that.
because my friend Catherine, um, she has dual citizenship because her father was American,
right.
her mother was Canadian. When her son was born, she applied for dual citizenship for him because as long as you have a dual citizenship,
Mm.
you can apply on behalf of your children so that they have it too. But yeah,
Nice.
you have to apply for it.
Mhm.
But I want to say that it's easier for, I mean, like most things, it's easier for the Canadian aspect of it doing the reverse, going for the American aspect where they're so strict on it. We're going, well, are you going to come here and live forever? No. No, no, trust me, we're good. I love Canada. I'm good right here.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love our igloos and our polar bears
And our geese. Can't forget our attack
and
geese.
our geese. So you guys have nice weather there.
Well, we have wonderful weather there. I would say the same about you, but you don't. You know,
No.
much
No.
as I enjoy going to
Yeah,
Canada, I do it certain times of the year.
we're the southernmost part of Ontario, of
Of
Canada,
Canada.
basically.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And January was probably the worst January we've had in years.
I say,
Like
yeah, decades at this point.
snowed every
Wow.
day.
Like,
I, I said to my husband on Friday, he came home from work. I'm like, is it ever gonna stop snowing? I'm like, I'm Canadian and it shouldn't bother me, but is it ever gonna stop snowing?
well, when you live this far south, and for us, like normally here we have really mild winters. Like we know to
Hmm.
expect one snowstorm and one ice storm. That's
Yeah.
normally what hits, and it's usually not till February.
Hmm.
But this year's been such a bloody freak show for the weather that we've had numerous snowstorms already, ice storms mixed into it, power outages, everything where we're like, no, I live in the southernmost point. This is not supposed to happen
Right.
here. It's mild, damn it, it's
Crazy.
mild.
Well, they had snow in Florida the other day, so it's
That
not normal.
I won't lie though, when I hear that there's snow or cold weather in Florida, it makes me giggle because from where we are, because we're right across from Detroit, Michigan,
Hmm.
we have a bunch of people who are snowbirds. They go down to Florida, live there half of the year, live here the other half. So
Uh,
when they go down there and they come back and they're like, it was cold and snowy. I'm like, ah, that's what you get for leaving. Like karma. I had to
Yeah.
suffer here. You have to suffer there.
The thing is, though, we're gonna pay hard for that karma if you want to buy strawberries in the next little while.
Oh, I
oh
don't want them
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, because Plant City, Florida, sends a lot of strawberries into Ontario,
Yeah,
and their strawberry plants froze solid. So
Whoa.
that's it. I'm
if,
only eating blueberries from now on.
if we get strawberries, they'll probably be from Mexico.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know if California produces any. I'm not sure what
Not
the.
well, certain times of the year, but right now, if we're getting strawberries, we're getting them from Mexico, I think.
Hmm.
All I know that comes from California, I want to say, are oranges and wine.
That's what we do.
That's the only two things that I know
As far as I
immediately.
know, it's all we produce.
Yeah,
And
I'm over here
novels.
like, oh, yes, novels, and they all go so well together. You have your wine for hydration,
Mhm.
your vitamin C from the oranges, and good novels.
Right. You don't
Yeah,
want scurvy when you're reading a novel.
exactly. See, this is we keep it
So,
away.
do you have any more books like ideas?
I'm working on another book now. The Great Dick and the Dysfunctional Demon was definitely written as a standalone novel, but after finishing it, now I'm writing, or at least I'm putting together ideas for a follow-up to it. And I'm
Oh,
working on
Oh,
a ghost story, which is not particularly connected to the Great Dick and the Dysfunctional Demon. But hopefully that'll be ready by the end of the year, I want to say, but you never know. These things sometimes take long, especially
yeah.
without aid of a brain tumor. Who knows how long it might
yeah.
take?
Yeah, but where you're like, I don't know if my creativity left with that or if
Right.
it's still
I
in
lost my thinking buddy.
there. Should have gotten them put into a little jar, brought it home, and gone, okay, you just give me ideas anytime that you think of them, okay?
Did
People
you
say,
enjoy writing in the horror genre?
yeah, I really do. I really
Yeah.
do. It's interesting trying to make it real because you got to make it very real. And I think
Hmm.
one of the things having a telling it first person, having a hero who, as I said, started out by admitting he was an asshole,
Hmm.
and then proved it. He's very skeptical of everything he encounters and what turns out to be the horror around him. And I
Right.
think that makes it much more believable because it takes the reader's skepticism and puts it right on the page. Yeah, that couldn't possibly be happening until, oh, that's really happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that whole genre, like the horror genre, horror thrillers, ghost stories, splatterpunk have taken like a huge rise in
Hmm.
the last couple of years when it comes to like published books, whether they be self-published or through a publishing house. It's You go into a bookstore and you see a lot of that on the shelves, and it's
Yes.
for myself, I'm like, yes, because that's my genre. But
Yeah,
it's nice to see, and it's good to see fresh faces doing it.
Hmm. It's
Like
nice to have different stories coming out because you get to have different angles for different people where it's a different take on things. Where you have some people that are like, oh, yeah, I wrote from this perspective, but I wrote from an alternate universe because I've seen that for the longest time. I won't lie. I didn't know what AU stood for.
uh,
I saw it everywhere. I'm like, hey, all this stuff. What is ow? What?
ow, one of those owl
Ow!
books. Uh,
Oh, look at that owl book. I don't know.
yeah,
Is it maybe it's a good thing. It's a whole ow. I like that book. So when I saw that it was when I learned that it was an alternate universe, so it's basically the universe that already exists, but with twists to it, I'm like, oh, I like that for options. So that way, it's kind of like I look at it as being a comparison of the TV show and video games of Fallout, where it's
mhm,
okay up to this certain point, these chips weren't created, so the world continued with tubes for energy and stuff. Where it's like, oh, okay, so this is an alternate universe, an alternate reality. Where I'm like, oh, I get it. It's like, yeah, I've played in a lot of those. I didn't know that's what they were called. So seeing them now entering into the writing universe, where I'm like, oh, I like it because you get so many different angles. Some people like to write it into what already exists in this world. And in your case, being able to add the skepticism angle from it, which Dana and I know well from her husband, of he 100% would be going, no, no, there's a face on my,
No,
no, I'm just imagining that. That's not really there. It's fine. It'll be gone
ghosts
by
could
tomorrow.
slap
Just,
him across the face, and he'd be like, "Nah, that didn't happen."
Yeah. And that would be my natural reaction, I think, too. It's like, no, that's not real, but there it is,
mm-hmm.
and what do you do? How do you deal with that?
So I have to ask. So if we were to go into a bookstore, would we find your book on a
Ooh,
shelf?
yes.
Depending on the bookstore. Yeah. It's Crystal
Oh,
Lake Publishing. They specialize in horror. They're very good at that and they're good distribution. If you don't find it, order it. You can certainly special order it. Uh, and of course, it's always available. Everything's available on Amazon.
Mhm. But well, I was just wondering because it is the curiosity of how many middle-aged women went in, saw the title "The Great Dick" and went, "Ooh."
Well, that's very interesting.
that's a
The
good
title
point.
being what the title is. It's, I thought I might have a problem with women because the book is really, the original subtitle for the book was a cautionary tale for men, a cautionary tale of terror for men and the women they hurt.
Oh,
And yeah, so
oh,
it's told from that point, from the point of view of the guy who does the hurting, actually.
Right.
And so I wondered if women would be put off by the title The Great Dick. And it doesn't seem to be the case. I had a group just the other day. I was, what was it? Cowboy Moms with Kids. And I thought, oh, they aren't going to like this book. It's not for cowboy moms with kids. And the
yep.
first line of the review was, I love this book. You will love it. You know, which was which was great because it was meant to be a book that anybody could pick up and relate to.
Hmm. That's awesome though, being able to get such a cross reference where it's nice to see something written from the man's perspective of saying like, okay, he knew he was an asshole, he knew that he hurt people, all these kind of different things. Like he acknowledges all of these points, and it's written from the male perspective with a different understanding compared to when you have like some of them where it's always difficult when you try to have the counterpart where you have a woman trying to write the man's perspective. It's always going to be slightly different and maybe skewed. Not that it won't be well done, but it can be
Mhm.
skewed different where when you have it from something that's similar to your own point of view where you're like, okay, yep, this is how I could see it, this is how I would see it in this scenario if I were in these shoes, being the background that I know that I'm from and being able to understand it. So it's interesting from that point of view. And then just the cross section of fandom that you can hit with it, where like Dana made the good point, wondering how many women went out there and went, oh, the great dick, brought it home, started reading it, went, hey, wait a minute, this isn't a romance novel. What the hell is happening? And then probably continued to read it, going, this is good. Not what
Hey,
I expected, but so
I
good.
could be the first to admit my mom would have been one of those ladies that went, "Ooh, the Great Dick," because she loves the Harlequin romance
Yep.
books.
Mm. Well, hopefully when she got it home, she wouldn't be disappointed.
She would have been like, "What the hell is
It's
this?"
certainly not a Harlequin romance.
She's not a
Horror buff.
horror movie kind of person, whereas I'm like, Friday the 13th is coming up.
Let's
Screw
give some stuff
Valentine's
some
Day. Friday
reading.
the 13th is coming up. Feel sorry for my husband sometimes.
If he's smart, then he'll just come home with a horror book going, here you go, honey.
Yeah, there you
Happy
go.
Valentine's Day.
New Stephen King, dear.
Now, you've mentioned your wife a couple times.
Uh-huh.
What did she think of the book? Like, I'm assuming she's read it, I would hope.
Yeah, she's read it. She likes it. She likes it a lot. She thought we might have a problem with some women because of the title.
Yeah.
Uh, fortunately, that doesn't seem to have been a big problem. So the people have been open enough to give it a chance. I mean, the title, the reason it's called The Great Dick is because one of the things I determined was The Great Gatsby, a story about a tragic love,
Hmm.
and Moby Dick, a story about a giant whale, are basically the same story, or maybe not, but they're both about someone's desperate struggle to overcome a failure that tends to or is trying to basically take over their entire life. That's what the story of both of those books is. And so
Yes.
the idea would be that if somebody wrote the story today for this era, they should call it Moby Gatsby or probably possibly The Great Dick.
That is fantastic for the reasoning. I love that.
So yeah, and that just sort of happened at the beginning of the book when I was rewriting the very opening, and it just worked so well and worked so well for the character and worked so well in a number of ways that I left it.
Yes. Well, to me, it was that immediately reading it, and once I saw like seeing the cover of it, reading the title, and seeing trying to remember what part of it, one of the quotes maybe or something like that about the male character, and the thought that immediately came to mind was that he's like the biggest asshole. He's the great dick.
He is the Great Dick. He is the Great Dick, and and that's exactly why the book works. I thought why the title works so well because this guy is a great dick. He knows he's a great dick. He doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily want to be a great dick, but to a certain extent, he can't help himself, at least at the beginning of the book. Things change.
That is, I love that. That is like it's just the most perfect name. Could not have come up with anything else. Just having the combination of those, how it applies to the story overall, to the main character, it's just the layers to just the simple title of it is phenomenal.
Yeah, I think it works well too. I couldn't
Yes.
resist it anyway. I mean, it doesn't have any giant whales and it doesn't have any tragic loves, but it's got, sudden death, bizarre cults, all kinds of strange things.
That sounds way
And
better to me.
yeah, well, hopefully it will be. People will find it that way. I think it's probably a lot more interesting to the average reader than Moby Dick.
Yes. Like those
Probably.
are, you think about some of those. I can remember reading The Great Gatsby in probably grade 10, somewhere in high school,
Somewhere around then, yeah.
and being one of those things just like, okay, yep, yep. Oh no, the poor guy. Oh, all his money. Oh, he parties all the time. Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, okay, yep, I'm good. Can we start another one? But I was lucky in grade 10. I actually had a teacher, Dana, you would have liked her because she's a huge murder mystery girl. So she had us reading all of the murder mysteries for our class assignment. She's like,
Great.
oh, okay, we're going to be reading this one and this one. I'm like, I haven't heard of any other school reading these.
I remember I was in grade 11 English when we read Moby Dick, and I
Ugh.
went home and I was reading it. I was sitting on the couch reading it. My dad came home from work. He's like, "What are you reading?" I said, "Moby Dick." He's like, "What's that about?" I'm like, "It's about a guy and a big whale." He's like, "I would have caught that fish." Okay, Dad.
I like that that was his takeaway from it. I would have caught it. Would have caught it
Exactly.
no problem.
100% as he was walking into the kitchen to get coffee. I would have caught that fish. Dad, it's a whale, it's not a fish.
Just an oversized fish. That's all. Just
Whales are
we're
mammals.
we're
It's
gonna
not
need a
fish.
bigger boat. We're gonna need a bigger boat,
You're gonna need a bigger boat. Yeah.
a way bigger boat. uh,
Oh, oh, that's fun.
I think we're creeping up on about the 1 hour mark, so we
Oh,
can.
are we? Yes, we are.
I
All
was just gonna
right.
say. I was just looking at that. I'm like, I think we're actually getting close to it.
Well, this has
Jeez, that
been
went quick.
amazingly fun.
Yes, this has been fantastic.
Yeah, I really enjoyed
Um,
it.
I'm gonna keep you in our back pocket here, Barry, because we'd like to do a follow-up with you.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Um, hopefully after I'll have read the book before Taylor even considers reading it.
I've read the first
So
page. I'm
maybe
slow.
around midsummer we'll
Yeah, that'd be
get
great.
together again
Yeah.
and we'll see how you're doing on your second book, and
And we can
we'll
go
chat
over,
again.
I would say, yeah, we can discuss. That'll be the spoiler heavy episode. We'll put hashtag all the spoilers. If you haven't read it and don't want the spoilers, don't watch that one.
Absolutely. And of course, I have all your socials. Appreciate that. So when this episode gets posted, we'll post it on Spotify. Spotify shares it out on 11 other different podcast platforms.
Mhm.
We will share it out on YouTube,
Yep.
Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook also. So we will
Great.
include all your socials on there and get you hopefully some foot traffic headed your way so people can check out your book, know where to purchase it, and learn all about you because this has been extremely fun and we are so thankful and grateful for you for picking us and coming on to our humble little podcast.
Hmm.
Thanks for having me, and I'll be posting it out on all our socials too. So
Awesome.
Thank you very
hopefully
much.
between
I'll
all of us, somebody will pay attention to us.
Somebody look over
somebody
here. We have
listen.
Barry.
Here we are.
Look over here. Look over here. We have an awesome book. It's not a romance. We promise.
So we'll take this chance to say goodbye and
Yes.
happy Sunday to everybody. Happy Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
overdo it
Oh,
on the
yeah.
snacks, friends, because bloated bellies hurt.
Well, thank you very much, ladies. I really enjoyed it.